Hey guys, my name is Cynthia Veronica, and in this video, I want to talk to you about school accommodations. So I actually have another video where I talked about specific accommodations that I've incorporated for my son at his school. And that was so specific. I just want to get into sort of the whole gamut, the whole array of all the various accommodations that you could potentially implement at your child's school, specifically if your child has dwarfism and more specifically achondroplasia. So I kind of just want to use this video to just rapid fire through 30 different school accommodations to give you ideas on what you can do with the upcoming school year. So the first accommodation is bus safety. So if your child has to get on the school bus, you can have someone designated to assist with your child getting on and off the school bus. Some buses actually have ramps or could lower for people with disabilities to be able to get on and off with more ease. Another accommodation is for the child to be able to stand in the front of the bus line so he or she can get on first. Another thing that you could do is once your child is on the bus, have them sit towards the front of the bus. Also, depending on their size, have them wear their restraints or seatbelts on the bus for more security. And you can also have their backpacks stay up front with the bus driver rather than with them. The next accommodation is more time at the drop-off or pickup line. So if your child gets dropped off and picked up at their school, it may take a little longer to get your child in and out of the car. So something to consider is that you just might have to help them with their seatbelt and also getting in and out of the car. So at our school, for instance, they don't really seem to mind too much if a parent takes a little extra time, but I have noticed that there is a spot ahead of the line where parents who take a little extra time can park. So talk to your school about parking in a nearby spot. Figure out a plan that works with your school's parking lot or drop-off line configuration. Okay, so the next accommodation is temperature checks. With COVID, this is becoming the norm. They're checking our temperature whenever we're entering the school premises. So one thing to consider is that people with achondroplasia tend to run hot. So it may show up as temperature being a little bit higher, but in fact, that's normal standing temperature for someone with achondroplasia. So talk to your school about this. Have your doctor write a note so that they can take into account when determining whether or not your child has a fever, the fact that your child is probably running hot due to having achondroplasia. So another COVID related issue may be the use of masks. So my child, for instance, really kind of had a hard time wearing masks in the beginning, and he still kind of does. And it's basically because of how the bridge of his nose is, but also because the mask sits up so close to his eyes. He is constantly telling me, I can't cover my nose because it really bothers my eyes. My mask, the top of my mask is too close to my eyes. And so one thing that I did was I talked to the school and they allowed for him to wear a face shield instead. So all we had to do was get a doctor's note, and I just need to make sure that he has a drape at the bottom of the face shield for full coverage. Okay, so the next thing to consider is using a backpack with wheels, and this is to help relieve back strain. So also another alternative to carrying around books all day is to have a set of textbooks at home and a second set of textbooks at school, so your child doesn't have to be carrying them around all day. Okay, so the next accommodation is using a thicker pen or pencil or some sort of writing tool. So writing and typing can be a little bit more challenging for people with achondroplasia. Okay, so another accommodation is extra time when taking tests or doing any type of writing assignments. So again, writing and typing can be a little bit more challenging, to do the trident hands, shorter fingers. So it just may take a little bit longer to get a writing assignment done. Okay, so the next one is special scissors. And I've actually talked to different OTs, and some of them come up with, all these interesting looking scissors. But ultimately, one of the OTs that I really like had said to me, the best type of scissors are the ones that are equally shaped on either side. So not the one with the, the smaller hole for the thumb, but ones that are both the same on either side. So just make sure you have that, or if they're still struggling, make sure that they have scissors that they can more easily handle. Okay, so the next accommodation is having either a stool or a platform below their feet so that their feet won't fall asleep when they're in a sitting position. They can also have some sort of adapted chair for that additional support. Another accommodation is having a back cushion for extra support. It just helps them to sit closer to the table with that added support so they're not straining their back. Another accommodation is a faucet that is reachable. So you can either have handle extenders so that they can actually turn the faucet on and off, or you can actually have the school put the faucet on the side of the sink, which is also kind of a neat accommodation to have. Another accommodation is to have a platform or stool below the toilet so that they can easily get on and off. Next accommodation is a soap dispenser that is reachable. The next one is a lowered towel dispenser or hand dryer. Next is to either lower the mirrors in the bathroom or have a full-size mirror. Okay, next is to be able to have the ability to open doors with ease. So it could either be a handicap opener at the bottom of the door, or you can somehow have a lowered door handle. You can get creative with this. We, for instance, ended up using a shower door handle on one of the glass doors. It just suctioned onto the glass door and it worked really well. Okay, so next is assistance with wiping. One way you can handle this is you can give them the chance to actually go to the nurse's bathroom, and they can get wiping assistance there. You can have someone designated like the nurse or an aide assist with wiping. You can also have a wiping tool that they use if they want to be able to do it on their own. The next accommodation is to have a lowered handrail. Okay, so the next accommodation is to allow them to have extra time to be able to go from class to class. So either allow them to get out of class a little bit early or just allow them to be a little late to the next class without penalty. Another accommodation is to have a designated buddy helping out with just walking down the hallways. Crowded hallways in schools can be very scary. There's a lot of people. They can trample over someone. So I would suggest, just having a designated buddy to help assist with getting from one place to another when it's in a crowded hallway. The next accommodation is to have a stool in the lunch line. And the next accommodation is to have some sort of assistance with carrying a lunch tray. So you can have a designated person like a lunchroom buddy. Okay, next is a light switch extender. I don't think you would necessarily need this too much. It's probably not too crucial to have this. I'm sure they're not going to be turning lights on and off on a consistent basis, but in case of an emergency or in case they need to reach the light switch for some reason, it's pretty easy to install a light switch extender on most light switches. Okay, so the next accommodation is to have a seat up front so that they can more easily see the teacher. Next is have some time to get up and stretch. I actually think everyone should do this. Next is to have a lower cubby. And then next is to have a lower coat hook. Okay, so the next one is to have a stool for the water fountain or a lowered water fountain, but one that they could easily access. And then the last accommodation is to have lowered swings in the playground and restricting the use of slides. So since children with achondroplasia are top heavy, there are certain slides that are a little unsafe for the younger ones since they can more easily topple over. There's also other accommodations associated with PE, but that's really going to vary depending on the activities that they're required to participate in. So definitely talk to the school and involve your child in those discussions. Okay, so those are 30 different accommodations for your consideration. There's a lot more, and it really is going to vary depending on your school setting and the age of your child and their needs. That's just to give you kind of a gist of things that you can consider, but it's going to be really useful to do a walkthrough, to involve the OT, to involve other specialists that really know the types of accommodations that are available and can help your child out with that. So thank you so much for watching. If you have any other suggestions, please let me know in the comments section. I would love to hear them. And I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.